Hello, this is Sarita, and I'm speaking to you today from Soulhenge. And I'm here to help you understand the truth about who you are. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today was the lonely path of awakening, and why so many of us feel lonely on this road, and what in fact it's doing for us in terms of acting as a propulsion to move us towards unity consciousness. And I've been thinking about this for a while because I just recently released my 40-day meditation challenge, in which I was asking all of us to create for ourselves, our friends and families, and for the world, a new way of being, but all together, and utilizing our power all together to magnify the manifestation process. And what I really feel is happening as we step into unity consciousness, into the fifth dimension, is we're being called to use the power of many to up-level our abilities as conscious creators, to really kind of supercharge us and to show us what we're capable of when we come together. And in fact, I've just been listening to the Law of One, which is why I've made this video now. And in the Law of One, Ra talks about the social memory complex and how beings who are on the path of service to others, so they're on the path of light and love in service to others, come to this point on their journey where they realize that service to others is going to be more magnified if they can come together with others on the service to others path. And in doing that, it will magnify the whole trajectory of the service to others road. And as beings of light come together, they form what Ra calls social memory complexes, which I would call collective unity consciousness. And that collective unity consciousness, the power of all of those individuals working together in the service to others modality, elevates the consciousness of the group, which allows the group to have access into higher states of reality, into higher levels of consciousness, and the fifth dimension. And this is what I think we are being called to do. And so I think that that's the fundamental reason why so many of us feel lonely on this path of awakening, because the third dimension is a dualistic state of being. It's only loneliness that can help us to understand community, belonging, whichever way you want to look at it. And so I think for so many of us, we've walked this lonely path. We've often been the first person in our families or our friendship groups who have woken up to the idea that we are multidimensional beings and that there's more to this reality than getting up, going to work, eating, watching a bit of TV, going to sleep and doing that until you die. Well, I'm procreating, we've realized that there's more to us. And as we've been the first in our family and friendship groups to wake up, we've been, to all intents and purposes, alone in the way we feel about the world and the way we feel about ourselves and others. And that loneliness, what I'm seeing now for people who have been lonely for just so long, is they are actually beginning to seek out consciously other people and groups and communities where the belief systems or the ideas or the service to others path is prevalent and matches their own resonant frequency. And what's happening now with the great reveal, with this COVID, this massive acceleration in our ascension process, is that I'm seeing more and more people are waking up, finding themselves terribly lonely, and then deliberately going out to seek others. And it's happening much, much more quickly. And people who have never perhaps sought out others are so confused and upset with what's going on now that they are in a way being pushed or forced, although force doesn't really exist. It's kind of the wrong word because we're free will sovereign beings, but they're being there's a momentum for them to go and find other like-minded people. And this is what I really feel as well. I really feel as if the people, and I said this on my video the other day, the people that on this channel, you know, the people that I meditate with, that I do my healing group with, my sacred circle group with, are my family. They're my family of light workers. And if we are all seeds of light and we all come together, then that creates so much light as we all come together. We become this sort of beaming torch. So I think this is why we've been lonely, so that we are called to begin to seek out our next level of evolution, which is unity consciousness. And then the second reason I think why some of us have been so lonely on this path, or some of us who are waking up now feel particularly lonely, is because I have this sort of vision, or this idea, in relationship to all of the literally thousands now of people that I've spoken to who are on this path of ascension. Most of them were seeded, if you like, they incarnated into families and friendship groups, as I said before, where they were the only ones who were awake for a long time. And I think the reason why they seeded into these groups, it was strategic, because if you have a seed of light in one family that wakes up, and that seed of light does their inner work, they deal with their shadow, they meditate, they work with frequencies, they take full responsibility for everything that's happening to them, what happens is their resonant frequency begins to rise, and they begin to emit more light and higher frequencies. And this is because they're literally making space within their third dimensional bodies so that more light can come in. They're becoming enlightened. And if you put little seeds of light in groups or pockets of places where there's darkness, people who are asleep, then what happens is it's like there's more opportunity for more of humankind to wake up, because those lights are spread out all over the globe. And, you know, this is just so true, because as I have done my inner work within my family, I first of all, I'm clearing and healing karma and cellular memory and all of those things in my ancestral lines forwards and backwards, because we know that linear time is only a third dimensional perception or construct. So I'm healing all of that forwards and backwards. So I'm affecting my family in that way on a cellular level, you know, on a karmic level. I am making changes in the here and now that affect the past and the future. But also my frequency, my inner work is basically elevating the frequency of the place that I'm moving around or living in. And that is calling those in my family or my friendship groups to wake up a bit as well and begin to perceive different frequencies around them, even if it's not consciously, even if they don't understand or don't see the frequencies, they're feeling them and the frequencies are affecting them. And I often feel quite bad for my husband because, you know, when I did my hardcore shamanic training for 5 years, I would go to England to my school and I would have these extraordinary, life-changing, very challenging, difficult experiences where I would go through all of my shadow work and then come into incredible realizations and just I was having the most extraordinary, amazing time, but it was definitely not easy. And my husband here in France would be going through a similar process. You know, we're intrinsically connected and he never really asked for it, poor thing. So, I mean, obviously he did because he married me and we're together and obviously we're growing and changing together. But, you know, I would go off and do this work and he would be affected whether he liked it or not really. And I think this is the road, you know. I can't remember who it was who said, be the change you want the world to see. You know, it's absolutely true. You change your resonant frequency and those around you are affected. And I think that is why so many of us were seeded into family and friendship groups where we were the first to wake up. I think it was strategic. We deliberately planned it because we deliberately chose to incarnate now in this moment in time to assist in the ascension of humanity. And I really don't mean this in an egoic way, because we are all absolutely one. But what I'm seeing is that even those people, you know, on this channel and who I consider to be very awake, are waking up even further. I've had such a fundamental awakening during the first lockdown, where all of the systems and conditions and habits and programs that I thought I was awake to, or rather that I was awake to, revealed hidden deeper layers to me, darker layers, you know, tricky shadows. There was even more revelation coming at me, and is still coming at me, although I'm pretty much, I think, out the other side at this point, except of course that we're infinite beings. But I'm seeing this happening to a lot of people. Even people who are awake are now having revelations of deeper, darker shadows, and really perceiving the truth of this control matrix that we have been in a spell under, in a way. You know, the spell is breaking, and we are waking up to becoming our own messiahs, our own saviors. So that's why it's a lonely road. You deliberately incarnated, I believe, into a family and friendship group where you would be the first enlightened being. And I mean that in terms of receiving more light into your infrastructure, into the architecture of your body, your container, if you like, for the divine. And I believe that we were also feeling this loneliness, so that we would be compelled right now it's happening, to seek out others at the same resonant frequency, so that we can begin to interconnect with one another, and as such, as a community of oneness, have the ability to begin to transcend higher levels of reality. So if you are feeling lonely, we're here for you. Come and connect with me and my community. We do loads of stuff, and you're not alone. You know, start to seek out people in your, you know, begin to talk to other people that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily communicate with. Be brave, go out there, find friendship groups, use social media if you need to find new people, and connect. There really is a heartfelt connection going on now with all of the light workers and star seeds and truthers, or whatever you want to call us all around the globe. There's a real network coming together now, and it's such a beautiful thing. So that's why you've been feeling awful. That's why you might be feeling awful now. But it's a beautiful thing, because it's going to propel you. It's going to give you momentum to step into unity consciousness with your fellow man, womankind. Thank you very much for listening.